Today is the May 10th and SIG Node weekly meeting. And sorry to keep everyone waiting because it's kind of like the we try to always start on time, and today many things happen at the same time. So let's run today's meeting. And I know that Alana and Sergey couldn't join. Sorry, I already opened open our meeting notes agenda, but I guess because I messed up with the meetings, I need to find that. Okay. Daniela, do you want to quickly update here, because many people maybe missed last Wednesday, the testing meeting. Do you want to quickly give the 1 or 2 sentence summary, and people will see your report, pay extra attention if people interested in to help on the node reliability.
Actually, don't know if we have Danielle.
Oh yeah, sorry. Manu, do you want to update quickly?
No, I wasn't able to make it. I think Derek, you were able to join. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I was there. So we had a kickoff last week on broad discussion on what we could do as a community to look to improve reliability of a Kubernetes node. I would say that the recording, I was actually in the process of uploading a backlog of recordings today for the SIG Node playlist on YouTube. But for those who want to view that recording, it'll be there shortly this afternoon. But those who don't have the time, I would say that we spent much of the time trying to reach consensus on what we actually thought reliability meant. And I think there's still maybe some clarity we can draw on that going forward, particularly on where issues may exist in the kubelet, or may exist in your runtime, or may exist in the, your Linux or Windows operating environment wherever you're running Kubernetes. But if folks are interested in helping to raise the reliability bar generally of a Kubernetes node, I'd encourage you to look to attend or participate in these discussions going forward. And hopefully we can find a few key meaningful things to tackle. I think one of the first things to do is to just increase the scope of test coverage in areas where maybe coverage at the unit or end-to-end level isn't as strong as desired. And then from there, figure out next steps beyond that. So I think, Dawn, you were there as well, and I know some other community members were there, but hopefully that's an accurate summary.
Yeah, really great summary. And most things just call out the activity, and please help on that effort. And here, yeah. So we can follow up more about what kind of things. And Daniel actually asked, this is the SIG Node priority. I think both Derek and I clearly say we want to endorse this one and support this one. This is one of our top priority for this quarter and also H2 this year. So please help. So next, Matt, do you want to talk about?
Yes, I just wanted to add something regarding the reliability. Maybe that's something you can discuss at KubeCon next week, because I think Antonio responded to the open letter to Kubernetes reviewer and approvers from Daniel Smith. And they wanted to organize like 1-hour meeting at KubeCon during the contributor summit. So maybe we can link those two. Yeah, I won't be able to attend, unfortunately, but.
Yeah, so I know, speaking for myself, so we did record a discussion already for SIG Node for KubeCon virtually. Myself, I know I'm not their in-person attendance, but both Dawn and myself did endorse Daniel's appeal. And I just kind of view the meeting last week as the first step of trying to put that in action. So yeah, thank you.
Yeah, I also want to add it, Derek and I and Sergey and Alala, we also record the half year, a quarterly SIG Node community report. So one of that one is we are talking about reviewer status, maintainer status, approval status. But in that one, actually, we also mention a lot of this heavy lifting of reliability related work over there. So yeah, it's not maybe it's not like because we haven't started this effort yet, so it's not a spotlight, but you can see that the theme is aligned altogether. Yeah, Derek will particularly talk about the SIG Node ladder and other things. If people review our the doc, we the order approver, and also we invite the leads to proposal. You can see that the reliability work and also the heavy lifting work, it is play big role there. So just want to share with everyone. Yeah. Thanks. Can we move to next topic, Matt?
Yes.
Do we talk about Keystone? Yeah. Do you need
it's that time of the quarter where I come and I speak about this cap again and again. So yeah, I don't know. So last time we missed the PRR review because of a misunderstanding between Elana and myself. And so of course I put the cap again for this release. Aditi is not available to work on this during this this release because she's on maternity leave. But I can handle it myself if it's okay for you. And Rodrigo told me that you and Derek wanted to speak about this, so that's why I came this week.
The last week last 2 weeks we did the one that 25 planning. So we don't know this status and who is going to working on, and it will be continue finish driving this one in this quarter, this release. So this is why we call out that one. So then if you will reserve the bandwidth, what's the target and like the milestone we want to achieve, and then we can identify the reviewer and approver. So I will tag you. Maybe you can provide more information in our planning doc there. Yeah. So you can find our planning doc in.
Yeah, I know. I have the doc. Yes, I can add more information. Okay. I thought you wanted to speak like live, but I can add the information there if it's enough for you.
I guess I think one more issue here, I think, Don, is I'm not sure if we reached agreement on the design on the cap itself. So
yes. But we call out this last time. The first thing we need to figure out who is going to come here to talk about the Keystone container, right? And then we can discuss. So looks like maybe you want to driving this one, came here and continue discuss this one, and then we can talk about. So then next one it is for the planning, right? So what's the milestone we want to achieve? So not necessary. We want to make alpha, beta, those kind of things. That's the big milestone. But there's the smaller milestone we want to move forward. For example, community reach certain consensus, right? So what's next? So that's also could be the milestone. So that's why I hope we can discuss there. Yeah.
Okay, so I will update the document, and if you want, I come back like in few weeks, because I think KubeCon, so maybe the week after or the week after. Okay.
Thanks.
Thank you very much.
So next one, I'm not sure. The next one, it is I think the people cannot attend. Zach cannot attend the meeting, and Light, are you here? Okay. I think this is just call our attention to review.
Yeah, I think I can make a pass at it. I think I know some downsides of the current CRI format, so maybe they're trying to address that or something. We'll see.
Yeah, the menu, we talk about this long time back. I think maybe we can pick up this follow up. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, thanks. So Ryan, do you want to talk about the event day proposal?
Yeah. So I'm Ryan. I'm the team lead for the Node team at Red Hat. We have an initiative right now for getting more pods for pod density on the nodes. And so, Don, could you share the document on your screen?
Let me grant you your co-host.
Let me share.
Oh, I need Derek to give you co-host. Sorry, Derek.
It's okay. I can talk to it. So right now we're trying to improve the plague performance in the kubelet. Right now, there's a loop in the kubelet that pulls every 10 seconds. And let me see if I can share.
You should have co-host now, Ryan. I apologize.
I have to mess with permissions with Zoom. It's okay. I'll just talk to it. And so we're trying to increase the pod density on the nodes. And so one of those facets is making it so that the plague doesn't relist pods every 10 seconds and it gets evented notifications from the runtime. There's one issue upstream currently that, that is talking about this. And so we're sort of formalizing, working on it. We're going to get an enhancement together. And we have a small proof of concept right now. There's a couple gotchas with it currently, but we feel that this is going to be a great thing for the kubelet so that we don't have to pull the containers frequently. And so I just wanted to evangelize this with everyone. Harshal on my team is working against this. Mernal and I are also working on it. And so if anyone in the community wants to talk to us on Slack or email, just send us a note on it, and it's something that we can collaborate on.
Yeah, I think, Mike, calling on you, like from Containerd perspective, and if you can take a look, the CRI changes that we are proposing, and if those make sense to you.
Okay, we'll do.
Thanks.
Ryan or Mernal, I don't know if we have any data we can share right now, but was there any, there were two things related to this. One was improved density, but then also reduce kubelet overhead broadly.
Yeah.
Do we have any initial data in what was linked here for our own measurements on that reduction of overhead?
I guess I'll answer that. We don't have metrics behind it yet, but Harshal is getting some really good results. Not much to share yet on it.
So I think, Derek, what we have is like currently the amount of time we are spending on the polling side and the amount of GC the runtime does to fulfill those calls, right? So the measurement post this will be to see what improvements we are seeing and how much less time we are spending there.
Hey, Brunel, this is Vinay.
Hey, Vinay.
A question about this. One of the things I
came across in when I was using the when I was doing the in place pod vertical scaling is that we have to kind of get the resource updates. We poll that. I'm wondering if that can be something that can be addressed as well. We right now I think I'm ending up calling added a new interface to the plug to relist, which is heavy. I think it relists everything, all the containers, I believe. So if the CRI can, tell us like the resource update has happened and give the new update. I don't know if that's something that's planned as part of this.
I think yeah, that could make sense. Maybe like if you can comment on one of the issues over there, Vinay.
I'll take a look at
Yeah.
this.
Yeah.
Perhaps in batch. Yeah.
Thank
So
you.
I have a question. So after this change, if the pod life cycle, suppose pods was created or container inside the pod is created, much faster, then the if we don't depend on the pooling mechanism, that will be reported the container creation. Completion and state will be reported more accurately or at an earlier time point, right? To match the real time point.
Yeah.
Okay. That's
exactly.
great.
Yeah. We won't have to wait for the polling interval. At runtime, will just propagate it up as soon as.
Okay. Yeah. That's great, because we found out sometimes, actually the container was created at much earlier time point, but because of this pooling mechanism, it's reported, much later time. Yeah.
Yeah, so correct me if I'm wrong, Renal and Ryan, I know it's been a little while since we discussed this, but this wouldn't necessarily entirely eliminate the need for the kubelet to occasionally do a full reconcile loop against the runtime. It would let us extend the plague relist interval much more widely in favor of hoping to get a reliable channel events, almost like how controllers in the Kube API server list watch in that relist interval is greatly extended because we could depend on watch. The idea would be we'd get the same here.
Derek, that's accurate. Yeah, we aren't saying it will be entirely be gone, but we can extend that interval drastically and reduce the overhead.
Yeah. So that was basically it on this. We're going to start formalizing the enhancement coming up and taking feedback from the community. You can reach us in Slack and email, and if you have any questions and comments. I did take a note on the comment earlier about the resources.
So do you have your code? Where is your code repository located?
There is, in the document shared, there is a branch and commit that's linked there. And I will loop back with Harshal. I don't have edit to this document, unfortunately. And so I will put the branch in there after this meeting.
Okay, thanks. Yeah.
Sorry, I have to stop share because once I share, I lost the audio. I cannot comment at all, so that's why I stopped. But I think the doc is linked here and Ryan, and please just add all the missing data into your doc. Yeah, already shared here.
Thanks, Don.
Thanks, Ryan. Let's move next one. Mike.
Yeah, hi, it's Paul. You here too?
I'm here.
All right. Paul's in our OSS group. He's a maintainer for Knative, and we brought him in to also work on some of these Kubernetes features. Specifically, he was excited about this one, so he's volunteered. The idea here is that when you're doing these probes, they were way too not wide, big seconds. You couldn't be granular. And in a fast scenario, we wanted to be able to get down to maybe 100 milliseconds, maybe 200, or at least some value that you guys would agree that's not thrashing the system any further, and especially in scenarios and host environments where you're really just running Knative kind of services, and you're expecting these things to happen much faster. So we're hoping to get this improvement in. It's gone through a couple of reviews, and Blermick, for example, and Tim have taken a look at it, and I think it's time to move forward if we could. We've probably had 5 different versions of it. So if you could, take a look at the last one. Basically, I think where we left off is we're going to have this new milliseconds field that will be used as an offset, if you will, will sum the current seconds that you selected with this milliseconds, and you could make that actual time be smaller if you use negative milliseconds for the addition, so it'll just come down, or you can make it a little bigger. And we think that was very important too, because we're finding way too many situations where everybody's waiting for everything to happen at the first second or the second second. But when you check your probe, it's probably about a quarter of a second after that first or second second, not somewhere in between. You don't want to waiting for an extra second or being right at that 1 second. It's probably going to make you go through that iteration. You'll have to do two probe executions, which is more expensive than you probably needed it to be in a good scenario. So yeah, we think this is a good solution. We'd like you to take a look at this HackMD. If everybody agrees that this is a good direction in SIG Node, we'd like to go ahead and maybe take it out of work in progress and try to see when this is going to fall in. Yeah. If not 125, 126, but we'd like this is this in as early as possible. We've got some code.
Yeah. So Mike, I think this is a good topic area for broader discussion on what do we want to give as a quality of service generally around probes, because it's actually a way people will measure us. And my fear on this is absent providing some quality of service guarantee around probes, where we have my own experience at Red Hat generally is we have a pocket that says, similar to you, where you're expressing Knative, which is I need faster responses on probes so my functions can appear to be running faster and be happier. That is also then balanced with like normal, I don't want to say non-function Kubernetes usage, where probes are basically a denial of service attack on the node sometimes.
Exactly. We can't afford to have that.
So one of the things I was hoping we could maybe discuss was, I'll volunteer Renal and Ryan from Red Hat to drive this forward a little bit, is we've been doing a lot of similar to the plague measurements that were referenced there. We've been doing a lot more measurements on just quantifying the overhead of probes generally and trying to figure out where the bottleneck actually lies.
I got to tell you, exec probe, why did we do
Right. So some of these things, like if you offer a sub-second exec probe, could you ever actually meet that, is like one of the things that we want to quantify. So maybe the general ask would be, can we, before we make
the answer is yes, we're down to 250 mils on just running the pod and around 70 on each container if it's not too big, or an exec. So we're getting the atomicity down, but you're right, reliability is just as important on that.
What I was going to suggest was could we under a broader reliability umbrella, could we reach some agreement on like do we have an established norm on how we measure probe performance generally, and get that as a baseline, and maybe understand where probe bottlenecks are occurring, whether they're occurring in the go runtime, in the run seed launch, and the communication from the kubelet to the CRI. And then once we have that, like then see if we can achieve this. So as a concrete next step, I wanted to volunteer Mrinal to share our own findings at Red Hat with the broader community on how we've tried to bring probe time down significantly by doing something independent of the kubelet generally. So I don't know if we could cue that discussion up, Mrinal, for after the KubeCon.
So it's sort of like a performance work group associated with the plague.
Yeah, but just even more generally, like just to give you a preview, is like we looked at rewriting core parts of that call path to eliminate bottlenecks that maybe we hadn't thought about as a broader like community, and just putting that experience out right now to say, hey, does this make sense? Like there's an overhead to even running a probe, like 15 megs overhead, I think, per probe right now. So I just want to look at probes like holistically a little bit and just give an appeal of, hey, this is what we've measured at Red Hat. I don't know if IBM or Google or others have done similar measurements, but just get that shared and then tackle the process.
Paul, you might want to talk about the tool we're using. But yeah, we've got a perf tool that the Knative guys have been working on. Just for this purpose.
So the scenario we've been running, Mike, in transparency is basically a node at density. Let's say density is defined as like 100 pods, each pod having 2 containers.
Yes.
And then what happens if probes are running at 5, 10, 15 millisecond latencies? And what will end up happening is no one's probes will actually get received.
That's right. They'll all time out.
Yeah.
Yep.
So then we went.
And a part of that's because of the way we use, timeouts. So yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, long way of saying we'd love to support this discussion going forward. I just want to make sure we all have an understanding on like what can we actually achieve and what knobs we'd have to turn to even achieve this higher bar, I guess is how I'd frame it. So like Mrinal or Ryan, is that something we could?
Yeah, I think like internally, Derek, we kicked off a deeper like work with our perf team to measure, compare. And I think my hope is like we as a community can eventually come up with some guidelines, right? Right now, we don't have guidelines on probes, how frequently you can run them on a typical setup, and customers just like abuse them, right? And they expect everything to work. They keep on adding more probes. So maybe to get some baseline data, understanding with the community on like, okay, what the direction is, where we want to fix it in the runtime or kubelet side, how we measure it, and what is a good number of probes to run
And
that
then
we can support.
Frankly, to get clarification on, I don't believe we have uniform consensus on who is charged for the probe. So
Yeah,
is the probe charged to the kubelet or is it charged to the pod? And if it's charged to the pod, probes are then subject to CFS constraints on that node as well. So we've taken various strategies at this in our own like experience trying to meet particular needs, but I'm sure everyone in the community has done similar. But like that's like a key thing is like if you're a best effort pod asking for sub-second probes, those things are kind of in conflict. So we should just reason through that holistically.
I want to like echo what Derek said. Derek, I think that we discussed this in the past. Even when we discussed the CRI API, we kind of agree. I think we didn't really document, but we do agree that it's charged to pod. We even agree because that time we already have the sidecar container discussing. We even agree we want to some way to charge to the container itself, because it is who is the user to specify those probe, right? But we never really agree how to charge, right? So this is why part of the pod overhead initially is not just for the base part, also for the kata container. One of those kind of things is also for the kubel kata logs serving those stream and also probe. But we never really have a good way to describe how you are going to define. Here it is reserved resource for pod, for probe, and here is the reserve for log, and also what kind of level, like what it is, how that's relationship to the quality of the services. So I think that we talk about those things in the container runtime interface, but we never settle down. So because that time nobody really have the advanced usage like this way, right? People still try to understand the container, so we didn't continue that discussing. So we could reopen this one. Maybe those things is charged to the node. I personally don't agree, but we can open all those kind of discussion.
Yeah, I think generally we should have that discussion. So just as a preview, like my own experience is that it's use case specific on where the charge is best placed, and we've taken approaches at Red Hat to be flexible for a deployer to figure out where that charge should be. Similar to things like image pools, we're not perfectly consistent on who that is charged to. But probes in particular, if you're trying to increase the bar, we need to rationalize it with total resources available to that pod generally a little bit. So anyway, I view this as a key reliability discussion. Probes are one way we get measured reliably. So Mike,
Yep.
you and your team want to help us all reach consensus on like what we can do here. We're happy to help out.
Yep. Definitely agree. Let's I guess create a work report or something to that effect if you don't already have one, or we can do it in the Plague one or some combination. Sounds great.
Awesome.
Yeah, we've been doing a lot of performance work too, trying to bring the overall cost down, and yeah, all of a sudden, probes, oh my gosh, they're expensive. Yeah, we're seeing it. Yeah, we're all trying to make things fast, and yeah, we have to make it reliable as well. Yep. I agree completely. So yeah, maybe the initial bottom number would be 500 milliseconds instead of 100 if we're too concerned as we go forward. But yeah, we'll talk.
Thanks. Go ahead.
No, just say we'll.
Yeah, just in transparency, the other way we could tackle this too is because a lot of these topics are operationally specific, is like maybe a limit range, for example, should be able to restrict, or maybe we should have practices on how like gatekeeper could prevent probe abuse in particular scenarios. Like, so just looking at a whole.
Yeah, I could see Kubernetes saying, "Yep, okay, let's lower these." Yep, the repeat, and yeah, we could do some stuff. Cool.
I believe we want to start from the measurement first for this one, not to just.
Yeah, so Red Hat will share our own measurements on what we've observed. And if anyone else has measurements, I would love to see if we're off base. Yeah.
Yeah, we'll share and try to come up with a combined tool set or something. Yep.
Awesome.
Thanks. So Marcos, do you want to talk about discussing other cluster resource here?
Yes, hello. This is Marcus from Intel. So I presented this class resource KEP and had a demo like 1 month ago or so in SIG Node. And actually I thought that I had sent an email to SIG Node mailing list like 2 weeks ago, but now today I really realized that it was sitting in my draft folder, and I now sent it just before the meeting. Just wanted to continue a bit on the discussion that we had last time. First was kind of a bit misunderstanding from my point of, or from my side. So I think you don't suggested that if you could add these, we could do it so that one way would be to use pod annotations for setting the class and only extend the CRI protocol in the first phase. So actually that was our like very original approach to introducing this. So having this very minimal KEP in a similar way that, for example, SecComp and others were introduced. And I think it was in last October or November last year that I first time presented this idea, and then the feedback in that SIG Node meeting was just that the annotation should be or would be best avoided because of some problems with that, like version skew and other problems. So and then like extending pod spec at the same time with the CRI protocol would be preferable. But I think, of course, if people see that the annotations are kind of better or preferable way to like slowly introduce these type of resources, I think we're totally fine with that approach as well. So that was, and it's the KEP also mentioned as an alternative approach. So using annotations and only only extending the CRI protocol. And then probably one kind of misconception or understanding in the discussion was that kind of what we are aiming at here. So with this class resources, so I would kind of see this as some sort of like opaque non-integer resources or so that they would be kind of mostly opaque to Kubernetes. So all the management and handling would be outsourced to, well, container runtime in this particular case. So like trying not to have any complex heuristic or logic like in this, for example, this resource class proposal a few years back. So the naming is a bit unfortunate there, I guess. Get like easily confused with that. Then yeah.
Sorry, I let you finish.
Yeah. That's then of course, like any suggestions again for next steps. I think you don't, or somebody suggested probably writing a blog post like explaining what is possible currently already via the like container runtimes, and yeah, I think that's something that I could do in Kubernetes blog post. Create a blog post explaining what is possible already now with container runtimes, and then like what we're planning to do in the future.
Yeah, I think that not everyone maybe attend the last meeting, and so maybe I feel a little bit context. The reason we suggest annotation is just because most of the proposal it is decoupled from the Kubernetes, right? But the proposal it is to introduce this class resource, the field for the cluster resource. So it is really hard to reach consensus, right? So that's why I suggest even we know the annotation for those things, a lot of time maybe introduce the version school and also backward compatibility potential issue. But given the design currently actually is already work for many cases, there's already have the plug-in to support those things, and even scheduler can support those things. So I suggest let's just start with annotation and then start with blog, make people to start using the features, the download the plugin and enable those features. So then we can have the more feedback from the customer. Then we can have more understanding, then come back to the community and make that it is first class field to the pod spec, or maybe we just keep that way, because keep that way have the also have some reserve, some flexibility. So just feel the community a little bit the background context here. Manu, do you want to comment here?
Yeah, and I think like one more thing I think that we asked in the last meeting was like doing a walkthrough here of how the block IO will work end to end, right? So we
Yes.
can probe further. And I think
yeah,
Yeah. I think next week is KubeCon, but I think we can do that for the block IO as well. But from the kind of Kubernetes point, or the kind of CRI protocol, or the point of view of this gap, kind of it's really opaque to Kubernetes, so it doesn't. So it's just opaque resource as any other class resource like RDD. But yeah, we can do that, because it's of course like essential to know how the block IO works in practice, or
So Max, we are looking
as a
forward.
practical, yeah.
We're looking forward you come back and give us like the walkthrough from end to end on how the feature enable disk I/O, and meanwhile, just like what we talk about, we can you can work on the blog, because blog, I believe you also have to give to end walkthrough and how to enable certain features, right? So we are looking forward. Yeah.
Yeah. So just to double check, so I will update now the KEP so that it only contains the Sierra protocol like changes, and then make the annotations kind of the way for the users to communicate or specify the class. So I'll update the KEP as well, and yeah.
You can also keep what we discussed here as the what's next, right? So because right now we propose to annotation. So what's next? So
It's, I mean, the KEP contains a lot of kind of future steps. So we took this really step by step, small steps approach, and well, using annotations add just one more step to the kind of. But yeah, it is Sierra changes, then pod spec changes, then pod status, like now resource quota as future step for access control and so on. So yeah, there's a lot of future steps for that. Yeah, try to do small steps to get something done.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Okay. Thanks a lot for the feedback.
And please follow up on that KEP if you have any things to follow up. Yeah. And next, Vinay, do you want to update?
Hi. So this is just a quick update on. I think we have the PR. It's been sitting in that state for a little while. I might I have to do a catch up on that one and make some small updates to it as well. Probably going to add a test. There's an issue that that we found out last week, and I think it requires a test. It's not a alpha blocker, but I think it should be fixed. It's better to have it sooner than later, and I want to see if there's some small code change we need to make, because this is going to be, it'll fix itself in beta, but I'm looking at it a little bit more closely, so I might make one update. The main thing at this point is Derek's review. I think it's halfway done on the kubelet side, to see if we can close the loop on that. My time is going to get very limited in June. I have a conference in Texas that multiple papers have been talks have been selected, and I'm preparing for that. So June is going to be pretty busy. I don't want to run into a situation like last time where, during the core implementation time, I'm not available and it comes to code freeze time, and then we're getting done and we just don't have enough time. So I'm wondering if Derek, can you devote some cycles probably this week or next, so we can finish that and see if there's anything critical that needs to be done, addressed right now, and we get it to a shape where it's acceptable.
Yeah, I will get another pass on it by end of next week, if that's okay with you. And
sure.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, so I'll keep an eye out for it. I'm on Slack, so if you need something really quick this next few weeks, I think I'll devote time. Most likely it'll be in the evenings. I might get to your questions and respond, or weekends, but I'm hoping that we can get this done by end of this month. There's also the housekeeping item. I merged the two KEPs, the CRI KEP and the main KEP that we have. I've sent out a PR for that. Could you please say okay to test on that? I think there are a couple of issues I need to fix with TOC. I'm going to do that, and then hopefully we'll merge that. It probably needs a quick review, but it's just a combination of the two KEPs. I just took the sections from the old KEP, the CRI KEP, and dropped it in there, made some small adjustments to the wording, and that's about it. But yeah, please take a look.
Can you drop links in the doc to those PRs, Vinay, so it's easy to find?
It's already there. Let me check. Let me
Ah,
check.
Already there.
Oh, okay, okay.
Willie, I will help you the cap thing, and I know the direct is already busy with your PR, so I will help you.
Yeah.
Cap thing.
Okay. Yeah, the docs, the links are already there in that.
Okay.
So the first one is the title, the heading has the PR link, and the please review has the link for the enhancements PR.
Yeah. Thanks.
Thank you.
So Manu, do you want to? You have a question. So
yeah. Do you want to keep it or drop it next week?
we normally cancel, but I'm open because anyway I won't be there physically. So up to community, we can still, or we just cancel because we have many people maybe go to the KubeCon.
Yeah, I guess, yeah, and then people can just poke on Slack if you want attention on anything, I guess.
Yeah. Sure. Okay, so we are cancel next week. Okay. That's all. I think that I believe that's all for today. And any other topic people want to bring up? Otherwise, we have 8 minutes back. Okay, I think that's all for today. Thank you, everyone, for attendance to this meeting. Thanks.
Thank you.
Cheers, everybody.